I have a confession to make. But first, I seem to have a luxury that many don't get. I have time. Time to explain myself. Time to really paint the scene for you as I see it. But I fear I'm showing my hand a little too soon. Allow me to introduce myself. I am someone who can speak with the departed. It is a skill that has been passed down to me by my late mentor. I attained a great many skills through her, in fact. She taught me how to commune with the dead, how to bring their will back into this world even for but a moment, and most importantly, taught me how to respect the dead and the damned alike. You see, there is a distinct difference between the two. One is, for example, your late grandmother. Perhaps not the purest soul to all, but by and large, she has done more good than bad in our world. In her time, she taught those in need, raised her son, and perhaps most importantly, she lived for herself. This is an important factor more than you could possibly know. The things that keep us going in this world make all the difference in the next. Your grandmother fed her soul throughout her years, and those choices that she made will shape her peace in the next. But not all judgment is so easy. What about those who live contrary to this life? Those that gain joy in their own way, in the harm of others. Those that would sooner cause pain and suffering for their entire lives just because they wanted to. Because even they, in their own viewing, are living for themselves, aren't they? Sure, they aren't doing good, but nobody ever said they had to. Nobody ever asked to be born here, and yet they are anyways. Can we really judge each other for how we deal with this fact? I know that most, even I, do so anyway. I believe our hypocrisy is best mitigated by kindness and respect. I personally can stomach my own life a whole lot more when I live in accordance with my ideals. In living this way, it has forced me to often find peace even when I am lost. You see, these are the things that someone like me must consider when communing with the departed. As good as I am, as good as any of us can be, it is rather difficult to discern the good from the bad, if that even exists. I'm not so sure anymore. Oh, sorry. I seem to have gotten lost in thought. Again. Anyways, I'm sure you've heard all this before. Mind readers and mediums alike have received endless criticism over the millennia. But I am not here to convince you of what I have seen. I am not here to read your palm. I am here to confess. I have brought someone back from the dead. You see, life and death are often thought to be two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand. You can never have one without also eventually having the other, but never both at once. And more importantly, you can and should never dance too long on one side if you belong to the other. This was the first thing my mentor taught me. She spoke of a time, a dark time, where these rules were not common to the tongue, and many acted in opposition to this idea. Families that were lost to disease, lovers that succumbed to the test of time, and even children lost far too early in life. These were the most common reasons that people came to my mentor so long ago. She spoke to me of the risks that not only accompanied the action of bringing one back from the dead, but also the hysteria that was brought with it. But the absolute number one reason why she, unlike others, never even considered the ritual in the first place was because it always did more harm than good. For in her words, what is dead should stay dead. To tell you the truth, I fear I may be a total failure. Not because of what I have done, although it's certainly a factor, but because, God forbid, I think the world will be better for it. The world as we know it is a different, more understanding place than it was before, after all. My mentor spoke of pitchforks and fire that used to comb the streets at even the thought of witchery. Nowadays, things are different. People are more willing to accept differences than before, more well-equipped even. I, for one, believe in the people of today. I believe that you will understand. My time as an apprentice had long since ended. I had traveled along with my mentor for a majority of my formative years. Upon her passing, it is customary to take on an apprentice of yourself. A great search was had, but ultimately I found the right disciple in a small, sheltered town off the side of the road. My mentor had left me, but I felt ready to teach this child her ways. He was a curious fellow, always asking questions. I wonder if I was as inquisitive as he was back in my early years. He would often make mistakes, but never the same one twice. Every village we visited, he insisted on learning at least one person's name. Said ghosts deserved to be remembered, so the living probably did too. One day, during our travels, he came to me, eyes red and dry from tears. He told me of an old veteran that had recently passed, and now his soul seemed to be haunting his grandchild. I agreed to investigate the damned man's soul. At this point in our travels, I had taught my disciple many things, but I made it abundantly clear that should he come upon a soul of the damned in my absence, he is to immediately retreat and find me, for he was not experienced enough. Many poor souls from the war have been carved irreparably. Often, kind men and women alike are tortured in this life and unfortunately the next, all due to the actions they were forced to take in a place they were forced to be. This old man that recently passed was certainly no exception. Upon my entrance, I was shocked at what I saw. You see, I possess the ability to bring the souls of the next world back for but a moment. It is a common and routine ritual that is attempted to appease the hearts of those mourning their loved ones. The late man's poor grandchild had learned of this ritual and pleaded with my disciple during my absence upon learning of his abilities. He was hesitant, as he knew he wasn't supposed to, but the young boy reminded my disciple of himself. How could he say no? When I entered that place, that home, I saw a young child, no older than 15, possessed, crawling on all fours, twisting his neck and joints, breaking them into many little pieces. My disciple burst into tears. He pleaded with me that he just left him alone for a few moments, that was all. He wanted to give the boy some more time alone with his grandfather. No words dared to leave my mouth while they simultaneously poured out of my disciples. Words that were of my teachings. Words that spoke of everything I had instilled upon him throughout his years. Was I to blame? Of course I was. I was a far worse teacher than my own mentor. Why, though? I spoke the same words to him as she did unto me, gave the same teachings, practicing the same restraint. I gave him no task that was too large, and yet, there he was, the product of my teachings, a kind and innocent disciple that only wanted to respect the dead and the living. The grandchild's now lifeless body was being forced around like a puppet by his own grandfather's lost soul. The next months were hard for both of us. My student, formerly chipper and yearning for more from this world, was now broken, questioning everything that I had taught him previously. I could see him slipping away from me. No. I could see myself slipping away from him. The very foundation I laid for my student was crumbling for the both of us. It was my fault what happened next. It's a horrible thing for a mentor to outlive their apprentice. It's not natural. It's not something my mentor had taught me. I found myself, in subsequent months, by no conscious decision of my own, making more of an effort to learn at least one person's name into every village I stumbled into. What are you to do when your own teachings led your student to an early grave? What are you to do when your teachings were too heavy to bear? You fix it. There was another lesson my mentor taught me. It was toward the end of her life, when she knew she had little time left on this earth. Perhaps it was a lesson that should have gone unlearnt. However, at this point, I don't know what is right and wrong anymore, or if that even exists. I am going to share that last lesson that my mentor taught me with you now. For brevity's sake, I will make it more palatable to you as the listener. In my profession, you are no stranger to the knowledge of one's soul. Not just the concept, although that is important to understand as well, but in the more literal sense. The soul is something that is tangible in the right hands, something that can be altered or moved. My mentor's last lesson to me was the lesson on how to bring someone back from the dead. Or more specifically, as I mentioned before, she abhorred the practice. Her own version of the ritual. The very same ritual that I am performing now. She taught me how to visit the other world. Now, what I said before is still very true. If you live in one world, you won't last long in the other. But when one is adept at the concept of the soul, you learn how to hold on to yourself a bit better in a foreign place. And I plan on spending a while away from home, so I was sure to make the necessary preparations. I know. My plan was not to bring my disciple back from the dead. After all, I may be lost, but I am not stupid. I still remember to respect the dead. But what about the damned? I've been living the entirety of my life on this side of the world. No matter how many seances performed, no matter how many souls I have conducted through my body, I still had never seen the other world. Perhaps that was what I was missing, the crucial piece to the puzzle that I was not previously privy to. Losing my disciple by my own hand was almost too much to bear. I will not be able to handle something like that again, but maybe I won't have to. My mentor lived during a time where she saw many souls, like my disciple, succumb to darkness far too soon in life. And just like those poor souls, and the war veteran grandfather, and everyone for that matter, it was not their fault that they were damned. They were all thrust into a world unknown to them and forced to pretend that their pain was easy. My mentor knew that pain well, as she endured it and became stronger because of it. But not everyone is so lucky. I, however, never experienced that pain. I think it's time to thrust myself into that world, where all the damned and the departed are congregated. Perhaps I will find that missing piece of the puzzle. I am writing to you to implore forgiveness, for I have partially lied to you, and I am sure that does not help my case. But make no mistake, I do intend to bring myself back. I will be visiting the world of the dead. And upon my return, I plan on helping the world in ways that I dare not imagine just yet. Should I not return, I will take that as a sign that this world has had enough of me, and I will pay for my sins. Please understand it. As I see it, this is the next step in my life. This is the way I intend on living for myself, for I also wish to help those in need, and raise a child, and hopefully, in my own way, live for myself.